Even if you have $100, which is almost equivalent to like 370,000 Uganda shillings, or $500, around 2 million, you can always start. For business, I can assure you, you will never have enough money. Because if you have enough money, you will never get it. Keep, especially like maize, which is not dried properly.
It will get bad.
It will get bad. It will be spoiled. You lose all your money. So even, okay. I took, there's also another risk which I don't encourage people to take, but me, I took it. The risk is targeting different seasons. I did maize, I think at some point I did rice.
So you, according to the season, that's
according
what
to
you're
the
saying?
season, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Otherwise, if you're only selling one thing, it might not work out for you as a business, because you need continuity. Uganda has the same problem as Kenya. There are so many brokers who want to benefit more than the ones who participated. Such kind of business, you shouldn't be involving loans.
Loans. Hi guys, welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Price, and I have my guest. He's going to be telling me about his business, the business of produce. I don't know what that business of produce is about. Maybe when he is going to introduce himself, and then I'll be asking him a few questions about that business.
Greetings to whoever is following It's Price Show. This is Julius once again. I'm a common visitor, common figure on this channel. Today we are trying to talk about business, especially in relation to our region. You see there's a lot of unemployment. We are trying to see how best we can help each other than waiting until the government to do the needful. And yet we can do it ourselves because we know it's possible. We've done it minus the government, so even whoever is foreign can also do the same.
Okay, so I'm trying to get guests to share with us their information. I previously have recorded some videos about poultry, about border. I'll be bringing more guests, and they'll be telling us how they started, whether it's possible, how much they, So today I have my guest, and he told me that he has ever done a business of produce. So first of all, for us who don't know, what's that business? I've never heard about it personally. What is that business about?
Okay, produce is mainly dealing with dry rations. The dry rations, I mean like dry grain. That is maize, nuts, beans, peas, sorghum. That's what they mean. When someone talks about produce, he's talking about selling such kind of dry cereals.
It has to be food.
Yeah, produce is about food.
Okay, so how much, like, for people who want to invest in that business, how much, like, for the start, do I need to have for me to think even about that business?
Okay, one thing I wouldn't, here we are trying to look for a solution for whoever may want to try out something. I wouldn't really try to look at the amount of money, because you can start with any amount. I can give an example. You see, with like when things are still in the garden, like maize or beans, you can find like maybe a kilo is at 500. You can buy it at 500, keep it for like 1, 2, 3 months. Sell it probably at 1,000. So that means even if you have 500,000 or you have 1 million Uganda shillings, those who don't understand Uganda shillings, maybe I can use the international currency like the dollar. You can still, even if you have $100, which is almost equivalent to like 370,000 Uganda shillings, or $500, around 2 million, you can always start. For business, I can assure you, you will never have enough money. Because if you have enough money, you will never get it. So you would rather start. The only thing you need to know what you want to do. You need to have done enough research. I think one thing I've realized with business, people don't do research. They just enter business anyhow. My friend is doing poultry, I'm entering poultry. And yet you forget that your friend has got all the reasons that's why they are doing poultry, where you are entering in. There are some people who do poultry for fun. You find someone wants to be busy at home and puts up a poultry farm. Yeah, and at the end of the day, even if they are making losses, they don't mind because they are just putting it there for fun. But for you, are entering as business. So that's why I advise whoever wants to enter into business, first do thorough research. The research, I'm not talking about academic research. I'm trying to talk real based research. Talk to the people who are doing it, know what they are facing, then know how you can handle whatever they are facing and see how to move on. Minus that, you're not going to move.
Okay.
So you've asked me how much you can start. You can start with as little as you have. Then you keep growing.
How is the system? Do you need to have like a store? Tell us the groundwork.
Okay, like me, I've been dealing with maize.
Only.
Beans I did partly once, but I've been dealing with maize. Let me talk about maize. Maize, there are two ways you can do it. But let me give you what I was doing, probably to also help out. Me, first, I would rent land, plant maize. I harvest. The maize I've harvested, I keep and buy more from other farmers.
Are you planting in your own land or you are also hiring the land?
No, I was hiring. I'm now using myself as an example. You get it? At some point, I hired and bought. Other times, I only bought.
What is easier, to plant by yourself or to buy what is already,
To buy is easier. I was also trying out. You see, that's why I was saying that with business you have to do. Because I tried out, I realized that it was tiresome. You're not there. Someone else is working for you. So many issues. But at the end of the day, we are trying to see how best whoever may want to enter into produce, we are trying to give some hints. You get it? Of course, produce is all about, in simple terms, you buy stock, you buy cheaply. Of course, during harvest, by default, prices are always down. There is no doubt about that.
Give us the tips.
So you buy during harvest, you keep for 2 to 3 months.
You preserve?
No. We rarely preserve, especially like maize. When you've dried it properly, it will not get spoiled. Those are the disadvantages. Maybe if you want to know the disadvantages, when you've not done the right thing. That's what I was saying, that you need to research and know that you're doing the right thing. Because if you keep, especially like maize, which is not dried properly, it will get bad, it will be spoiled, you lose all your money. So even once you buy, you have to make sure that there is no dampness in your maize or beans or any other thing you're doing. You have to dry it properly.
But at this point, you're buying dried.
No, people don't dry it properly. That's what I was telling you. That's why the research is necessary. Don't take it for granted that whatever they've given you is dry enough. You have to put in more effort, you dry again. You need to be having taprins. They're called what? Tundubara. You need to be having taprins and dry again to make sure that when you're taking to the store, because remember in the store, they will be in the store for 2 to 3 months.
You had hired out a place to keep?
Yes.
Like a business place?
No, other people, it was someone's store. So just hired. We're paying a little money really for space and security. It's not a lot of money.
So now you have both doing the seasonal prices are low?
Then I had 2 options that I used. Okay. There's also another risk which I don't encourage people to take, but I took it. The risk is I would pay partially. Some people had products in the garden. That one is a bit risky because you need to be dealing with a trustworthy person. Otherwise, if the person is not trustworthy, you're finished. But me, the people I dealt with, God gave me a gift. Can I call it a gift? how can I say? It's okay favor. God gave me favor that whoever I dealt with in form of that was genuine. So you can, because you see many people look for money during school fees time. So some of those people, you give them like half, you give them like a deposit. So once you give this person a deposit, by the time and harvest time comes, you already have where to get your things from. Other than keep going from garden to garden, because you're buying from the garden, you're not buying from, once the things have left to the garden, money increases. But when you buy from the garden, they are always, the prices are low. So you buy from the garden, you buy from the farmers direct at a lower price. You're already supposed to have had a store. Then the main thing you have to deal with, these ones you are picking, you're supposed to make sure that you don't put them in the store when they are not dry enough. These days they've even brought in these, they're called thermal something, I've forgotten. Like where you can put in the bins or the maize, it will tell you whether it is damp or whether it is dry enough. So, I've forgotten its name, but it's there. You can either use your natural instincts and try to put your hand, but that one will might end up making you do a second mistake. You just have to dry anyway. Okay, to rule out all these things, whatever you pick from the farmer, make sure you put back on the sun. Then remove from the sun, pack properly, put in the store, keep.
And wait for prices to go high. Why are you keeping? Things already just said. Why do you have to keep?
And for you, you've bought cheaply. But remember, the prices goes as time goes by. So that's why you're keeping for the 2 to 3 months. Even in 1 month, you can still find there's a difference. If you want to sell, you can still sell. But if you're not on pressure, you can wait a little longer.
So you used to wait for the season of maize after you have kept for 3 months and sold, then you waited for the next season? Or how did you close the business? What were you doing in between?
No. I tried out several things, different seasons. I was targeting different seasons. I did maize. I think at some point I did rice.
So you, according to the season, that's what you're saying? According to the season,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Otherwise, if you're only selling one thing, it might not work out for you as a business, because you need continuity. Business needs continuity.
I think that's a good business idea. Why are you selling that business?
I'm not in it currently, but at some point I may want to go back. You see, with COVID, so many things went upside down. We are affected. You see, like many the maize we are buying was being bought from us by trucks going to Southern Sudan, and it was really a very good business. But when COVID came in, schools closed, even this maize, there was so much in print things. So that's why, like, you need to be patient as you're doing business. When something is not moving, you first wait. That's what I had to do. But before COVID, things were really moving on perfectly well. You only need to know and do everything right. Like I've told you, you have to be careful. The things of giving, like the option of buying from farmers when things are still in the garden, and you're dealing with untrustworthy people, you're bound to lose. Because you see, these things are always, they're called men's agreements. It's a one-on-one. It's not like court. Even if you sign that paper, someone will say, I was drunk, I was drunk, I signed out of duress because I was looking for school fees. So you buy during season? Yes.
You make sure you produce dry
properly.
Then you don't only aim at one. If it's time for
one
season,
product.
If one product. If it's time for rice, season for rice,
do rice. It's time for beans, do beans.
It's time
nuts.
To avoid losses, what do you do?
Not avoid losses. Of course, the other thing is, once you're going into business, you shouldn't be looking at profits only. You should also be looking at losses.
But in that case, how do you make a loss? If you have bought your things, you have dried them, and you have kept waiting for the prices to go high. How does a loss come in there?
The first loss is when you've not dried your things properly.
You have done all
got spoiled. That is the first loss.
Is there a market? I have so many questions.
No, it's okay. We are going to answer all the questions. But once you've done everything right, the only, which is rare, okay, let me also put a disclaimer. That is a very rare occasion of finding that you've bought maybe like a kilo at 500 and you're selling it like at 500.
Same.
Yeah, it happens. Like the time when there was war in Sudan, I remember actually bought
such incidences. Yeah.
Those are uncertainties that you cannot plan for. But as you're entering into business, you don't have to look at that.
But you are sure of the market. The market
yes. The market is there. Because like I've told you, let me talk about briefly this incident of Sudan. You know, there was that war which broke out in Sudan in 2014. All the trucks that were buying our things, we're taking them to Southern Sudan. So after the war broke out, the South Sudan market was closed. Then at the same time, Kenya stopped our maize from entering their country. So we had excess maize here. Remember, that period, the maize was slightly high because we were buying a kilo at 800. But you see, you cannot keep your produce for more than 3 months. So at the end of the day, we ended up selling at 250.
Less,
because we needed to dispose of. You see, you cannot keep for more than 3 months. That's why they'll get bad.
Poor quality.
They'll get bad. So that's the only incident that can. But those are rare incidences where you find you've bought at a certain price, you're selling less or the same or slightly high. Because if you sell like slightly
so you want to tell me that you're selling outside the country, not selling within?
No, we are selling within, but the people are buying from us because that's why we are buying a lot, right, which you cannot come moving around with. We'll be selling to like truckers. A truck comes at the store, you put on the measure and know how many kilos you are selling. They pay you. Barter trade. They give you the money, you give them that.
Do we leave out anything about in this business of produce? We need to touch, like, so that when a person watches this video, they get to know, like, about that business.
Okay, the other thing that we talked about briefly when we were starting, like these people who have land. If you have your own land, you're not going to rent. If you are entering produce business, for example, if you want to enter produce of beans and you have free land, it could also be an added advantage if you also planted your own. Then you just buy this side topping up. Like I said, I did it at some point, though it wasn't so profitable. It was profitable the first time. The second time it wasn't profitable because the maize didn't come up very well. There was hailstone which spoiled. So, but the first time I did it, the maize came out so really. I was very happy.
If you use that method, you're increasing the risk. Because
yes, you're increasing the risk. But at the end of the day, life is all about trying. You cannot only wait for things to be so smooth and keep going. Then for the case of Uganda, you see, the problem with Uganda has the same problem as Kenya. There are so many brokers who want to benefit more than the ones who participated. You see, like the Kampala area is more or less controlled. They know its price, who sells and buys maize. So if Julius comes, they make sure they broke you in all ways. So that's why to avoid all those inconveniences, the trucks come to the stores. You just, as long as you bought 500 and someone is giving 800 or 1,000, it's a difference. You just sell than putting in transport and thinking you come to Kampala will get a bigger market. You get that bigger market, you pay KCCA, you pay the brokers, you pay the sabotagers, you know. There are so many payments and risks where you find that you end up getting nothing than just strategizing, disposal from the store, have whatever you have, plan for another season of a different product or the same product. Because you see, like beans, they have several seasons. If you are selling beans, you could still sell this season and the next season you still sell beans. Even maize, some areas, especially the Bunyoro area, does. In this such kind of business, you shouldn't be involving loans.
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 We need to do that one in challenges. I think we need. We didn't want to make this video really too long.
Okay.
So I think that is like.
No, that's okay.
It's okay. So if you want to know what you want to talk about, we are going to record and upload a different video. We are going to be saying everything that you want to know about this kind of business. So if you want to know anything, leave your question in the comment down below. You'll always be available to answer your questions. Otherwise, for this video, we have to say bye-bye. Yeah?